Hey, should you list your rural real estate with a residential agent? That's what this video is about. I'm not going to tell a man what he should and shouldn't do. That's up to you, but I want to give you something to think about before you just go, list that 100 acres of timberland you got with your friend's niece just because she got her just got her license and she needs some business and she said she could help you. Folks, there's some things you ought to think about before you list your rural real estate with a residential commercial agent. Not putting them down. They do what they do. They do their job well. But the 20 years I've been doing this, I get more and more irritated every year when I see people that have no business listing a property like this, and they've got it listed. They can't do squat with it in the right way, and they ought to just have sense enough to leave it alone. But they don't. They'll sign that listing up and put their name on it and put it out there, and you're left holding the bag. You're 6, 12, 18, 24, 36 months later, you still hadn't sold it, and then you're wondering why. Well, I can tell you why. Before you list your land with a residential or just a regular commercial agent, just because they're friends of yours or they've got a good reputation in what they do, here's something to think about. All right, I'm on a property right now. I can just use this one as an example a little bit. I'm looking at this track, kind of getting it knocked out, and first thing you need to make sure that agent can do for you is you need to make sure that they've got the tools. Do they have the actual tools it takes to sell this timberland tract, or to sell a farm or a ranch, or to sell a large recreational property? Do they have the tools? Meaning, do they have mapping software where they can put good aerial maps up and topo maps and location maps? I don't mean the map you get off the tax assessor and half of them are blurry, the lines aren't clear. It's just, you can't really make out any of the timber because it's just kind of monochromatic, one, dark green color. You got to have some good tools to make good maps, and good maps are important to guys like me and my customers who buy land. That's the first thing we look at, is the map, to get a good understanding of what that tract is about. Most residential commercial agents don't have that tool. They don't have subscriptions to all of the major land sites where guys like me and my clients go to look for property. They'll put it on the MLS and Realtor.com and Zillow and Trulia or whatever all that crap is, but they don't have subscriptions to all of the major land websites, and so you're missing out on a whole lot of marketing. They don't have the tools to be able to show a large tract. They show up in their Buick or their Escalade. Well, it's muddy December morning. How are you going to get to the back of it? How are you going to get through the property? Do they have side-by-sides and four-wheelers? Do they have drones to take good aerial pictures and get good video with that? Do they have the tools to be able to just do the basics on listing and marketing a real piece of rural real estate? And I'm going to suggest to you that most of them do not. I look at a lot of MLS listings, not to pick on those guys, but I'm always looking at those listings to try to find opportunities for us to buy, or some of my clients that I know are looking for certain things. And so I'm pouring through all of these residential and commercial agents and their land listings, and they don't have good mapping. They have little to no photos. I looked at one yesterday, 80-acre deal, doesn't even have any photos. It's got a crappy little tax map, and there's no pictures of the property. So I couldn't even get a general idea of the timber type that's on it, and maybe, some of the size of it. Some even halfway pictures are going to give me a ballpark idea of the timber. I mean, I can take a picture of this stuff around me, and if you got any idea of what you're looking at, you're going to be able to tell, hey, there's some upland hardwood on that. There's some pine logs. That may be something worth looking at if the timber is important to you. Not having the tools to do the job in this business is critical. You got to have them. Number two, you got to have some knowledge. I mean, you just do. You got to understand what it is you're trying to sell. Do you know the difference between bottomland hardwood and upland hardwood? Most of these agents won't. Do you have the knowledge to be able to describe some of the species and type that you have out here if you're talking about timber? Can they talk about soil if we're selling a farm or selling some pasture ground? Do they know the difference in Bermuda and Bahia? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Is there a base of knowledge to be able to communicate with the public what the heck it is they're even trying to sell? Looked at a listing yesterday. 1 sentence description. 1 sentence. That's all it was in this MLS listing. It said 45 acres of wooded timber. I don't know what wooded timber is to start with, but 45 acres of wooded timber. Didn't say anything about the access, didn't say anything about the topography, didn't say anything about squat on that. I had want somebody look at the broker to broker remarks and come to find out that the timber wasn't even part of the property. All the timber had been reserved in a sale. So 45 acres of wooded timber. That's what the description said on this place. This lady was trying to sell for a client. And whatever merchantable timber may be out there doesn't even go with the track. And the general public doesn't even know that. There was no other information. 1 sentence, 45 acres of wooded timber. You tell me how that's doing that customer any good. It's not. I mean, it's a shame. It's embarrassing. And he's going to, and that property doesn't sell and he gets a bad experience. All he's going to do is say, those dang realtors. That's what he'll say. He won't say, no, that stupid one right there that doesn't have any business listing timberland. She's the problem. No, he's going to throw everybody on the bus and say, all realtors are just stupid and lazy and sorry. I've been hearing that for 20 years. So do they have the tools? Do they have the knowledge? And folks, if any of you are real estate agents, I want you to maybe think back to your ethics course. You took it. If you call yourself a realtor, you took that course. You remember what Article 11 is? I believe it's Article 11. It doesn't deal with, what's the word? Competency. One of the major fundamentals of realtor ethics is competency, operating only within your area of expertise. Folks, I'm good at what I do. I've been a broker a long time now. This is all I do is real estate. I don't sell houses. In fact, my 2 older boys bought houses the last couple of years in the town where we live, and they asked me questions, and I've answered all their questions. Went and looked at the houses with them, gave them my 2 cents on the whole thing, and the last thing I told them was, hey, call so-and-so to help you buy this house. They're licensed residential agents. Yeah, I could have written the contract. I could have done the whole thing. I could have helped them. That'd have done great. It'd have been fine. And I could have got the commission on that side of the deal. But folks, it's not about the money. It's about doing the right thing the right way. And so I passed these deals off, and I'm a broker in 7 states. I passed them off to friends of mine in residential companies there in our town because I knew they would dot every I, cross every T. They would think of things that I didn't think of. They're good at what they do, and they would help my boys make good decisions, good buying decisions on these houses. So, yeah, if you call yourself a realtor, operate within your competency. And those of you that are selling real estate, maybe you ought to ask that agent before they list it, hey, are you competent to do this? Are you operating within your competency? Or another way, do you have the knowledge to be able to explain this property, to explain it well to seasoned land buyers? Because that's what a lot of people are. They know what they're doing. And you got some real estate agent that can't answer basic questions. Folks, it's just freaking embarrassing, number one. But number two, you're not going to get a deal and your property's just going to sit there. And then the agent will call you and go, hey, we need to lower that price. Well, no, you need to get an agent that knows what the heck they're doing. So do they have the tools? Do they have the knowledge? And number 3, do they have the heart? Do they have the willingness, the time to that it takes to actually go out and work a listing, a rural real estate listing, the way it ought to be worked? I mean, I'm out here on this track now. It's less than 50 acres. I've been to 3 of the corners. I'm heading to the 4th one now. I want to see all the corners. I've been to the lines. I want to make sure the lines are marked well. They're not, so that's something I got to communicate to the seller. Hey, there's going to maybe have to get a survey done. Either them or the new buyer will want a survey, and we'll have to negotiate that because there's no markings on the ground. Take the time. I had to climb through briars to get into this really pretty wooded part in the back here, And I guarantee you, most residential agents aren't going to go the first 100 yards that I had to go through just to even get into the heart of this property. They're not going to take the time to do it. The listing I looked at yesterday, like I say, had no pictures. I looked at another one online this week that there were 2 pictures, and you could tell they were both from the same spot. You could tell that the agent you took a picture and then turned a little bit and took a picture, because a couple of the trees was the same in both pictures, and there was a limb that had fallen, and you could tell it was the same limb. So she's standing on the road, or he's standing on the road going click, click, and calling those pictures, and calling that working the property, calling that understanding it. Folks, that's just ridiculous. Do they have the heart, the willingness to go and work up that track, to find out where the creek crossings are, to figure out what it's going to take to sell it, to figure out what a new buyer is going to have to know and understand in order to make a deal out of it? So all these things are important, and not every agent is created equal. I'm really good at this. I'm crap at selling a house or a strip center or commercial building or some industrial piece of property. I don't remember all the stuff about cap rates and absorption, all that kind of stuff. It's not what I do. But I got some buddies who are real good at it, and I'm going to pass you along to them if that's what you need. So before you list your real estate, make sure the agent has the tools, they have the knowledge, and they got the willingness, the heart to go out and do the hard work. Folks, this is hard work. Selling 131 Elm Street isn't so hard. This is hard. It's physically demanding, takes a lot more time. If you can't do it, don't do it. Pass it along to somebody else. And if that agent you're about to sign up with isn't willing to do it and can't do it and doesn't have the heart to do it, get you somebody who will. Appreciate you watching our videos. There's some more right there. Check them out.